Galileo Galilei was a 17th century physicist considered today as the first modern scientist for the simple reason that he did more than just state his ideas. He took it a step further and conducted experiments, something most scientists before Galileo had no need for. They had Aristotle and his ideas as their proof. To say the least, Galileo wasn't Aristotle's biggest fan, and using the scientific method, he was actually able to prove Aristotle wrong on a few occasions. I grew up only knowing one thing about Galileo. He threw balls off of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Obviously, Galileo didn't climb the tower with a couple balls for fun. He was actually trying to prove Aristotle wrong, who had said that heavier objects would fall faster than lighter ones. Galileo realized through a thought experiment that in perfect conditions, the two objects would fall at the same rate. As predicted, the heavy object and the lighter object fell within 2 inches of each other. We know now that Galileo was correct, and the slight difference was caused merely by air resistance. But in Galileo's time, those 2 inches meant that Galileo was wrong and Aristotle's 2,000-year-old idea was still right. Galileo also invented various instruments which definitely made him more popular within the scientific community. These tools included the hydrostatic balance, which measured the gravity of objects by weighing them in water, an improved proportional compass, and the first thermometer to measure temperature variations. His best invention, however, would be this right here, the telescope. In 1609, Galileo heard of this new contraption and decided to make one for himself. Galileo's version was definitely way better than the original, and with it he was able to see the moon's surface, which was not smooth, as Aristotle had claimed. Aristotelians fought this by saying, heck, it's not the moon that has a bumpy surface, it's actually something in your telescope. Great thinking by these philosophers, right? Many Aristotelians were against Galileo, including Ludovico della Colombo, who tried very hard to disprove Galileo on several occasions. Galileo also discovered 4 of Jupiter's moons, which changed everything. At this time, it was believed that the universe was geocentric, meaning that the Earth was the center of the universe and did not move. Galileo then made his second most important discovery. The universe's center was the sun, not the Earth. This theory had already been discussed by Copernicus in 1543, but Galileo was the first to prove it. Sadly, Galileo's belief in the heliocentric system caused him a lot of trouble with the Catholic Church, since the idea of this system was considered heresy and against the orthodox beliefs of the Church. Galileo was warned by the Pope to discuss his theories in a purely mathematical sense.